It's July 25th, 1942, and it's time for Grandma's Diary. Today I canned pears, and I brought Aunt Lizzie Note up for the evening.
Hi everyone, and welcome to my kitchen. And what day is it today? This is Wednesday, so that means another CrockPot Wednesday. And today we're going to make ground beef minestrone soup. And the reason why I chose this recipe for today is because I have lots of zucchini. As you know, in yesterday's video I shared with you my zucchini hot dog relish. And it is really a good recipe, and I hope you give it a try. So today we're going to make a hot meal using zucchini. And since I am on a low budget, no spend, what better way to make a soup? A soup is something that is extremely low budget, it's extremely frugal, and you can put in it whatever you have. This recipe comes from Fix It and Forget It, the big cookbook. So this is all of her cookbooks all into one. And this is my go-to cookbook for CrockPot recipes. Now some of the ingredients I do not have, and so I'm going to substitute them. But I will share with you the recipe that she wrote down. So enough of that, let's get started. Alright, so we are frying up our pound of ground beef. And when it's finished, then we will put it in the crock pot with our soup. So the first thing we have is 1 pound of ground beef that's sauteed with some onions. We're going to put that into our crock pot. It also calls for 1 can of kidney beans, and I have my homemade kidney beans. It is a 15-ounce can. Also calls for 2 15-ounce cans of stewed tomatoes. So I have one of these. Can somebody tell me again how many ounces are in a quart? I'm not sure. I forgot. And I know I did it wrong last time. But I'm going to use one of these. So let's put everything in here. So we have our 1 pound of ground beef in our crock pot. We're going to go ahead and put 1 quart of our stewed tomatoes. And then we're going to add 1 quart of kidney beans, which I will have to drain and rinse. So here our kidney beans are, we're going to put in our soup. And then it calls for 1 10-ounce of corn. This is a 16-ounce. But I'm putting it all in. I'm not going to leave 6 ounces. I'm just going to put it all in. So if you can find a 10-ounce of corn, that would be great. But most of them are 16 ounces. It's for beef broth. And it calls for 2.5 cups. I do not can beef broth because beef is so expensive. So I cannot really afford to can that. So we're going to go with 2.5 cups of beef broth. It calls for 2 small zucchinis sliced. Well, I believe these are really small zucchinis. So we're going to use these up. And that's one of the reasons why I really like this soup, is because it called for the zucchinis. Now, some of these pieces are a little on the big side, so I think I'm just going to go down and halve them like that. Put them in half. Now, zucchini will cook down very much, so you won't have these big pieces when it's done. my granddaughter picked these. As you know, you always miss a couple zucchinis and they get really big. And that's a good way of making relish with them. Alright, so there we go. We got the zucchini. The last thing it calls for is 1 cup of uncooked macaroni. So let's put that in too. And you're supposed to put the macaronis in raw. Then you are going to have it in for 6 hours on low. What I'm probably going to do is what I always do. I'm going to cook it on high, maybe for an hour or 2, and then put it down on low. So this is what it looks like. Now, to me, this seems rather thick. So I have about a cup of the broth left. I think I'm going to just add the rest of the broth. Because when the noodles cook up, I think it's going to be a little thick. But we will see. But I added the rest of that broth. Oh, if you want to know, it was a 32 ounce of the broth. It called for 2.5 cups, but I used a 32 ounce. When I share with you the recipe, I'm going to share with you exactly how she wrote it. And then you can go back if you want to see exactly how I did it. The point for me is I use what I have. And so if I don't have a certain ingredient, I will substitute that. Now, the only thing I really substitute was I added more liquid in this. And I added a little more of the corn because I figured while I opened the bag of corn up, I'm not going to put 6 ounces back in the fridge, in the freezer. So this is, I'll show you what the soup looks like. It looks really good. I'll be honest, I've never made it before, but I have never had a bad recipe in this cookbook ever. So I think it's going to be another good one. So I'll see you back in 6 hours. We are on day 4 of a tropical depression. So we received over 5 inches of rain already. So I cannot be filming outside too much. But I did want to share this with you. I'm going to see if I can get my camera here where I don't get it wet. But I want to show you how my water filtration system works. So you can see what's happening here. The water is coming out of the spouting into the watering can, and from the watering can it goes into my rain barrel. So all the settlement that you are seeing is actually settling in the bottom of the watering can. So there you go, everyone. I wanted to show you that today. So let's get back to our cheap meal. Everyone, the soup is finished and this is what it looks like. So it is minestrone zucchini soup. There you go. My family's starting to show up here for lunchtime, and we're going to give it a try, and it smells amazing. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.